Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, bienvenue à la première édition des Pourparlers de Genève pour la paix.
The Geneva Peace Talks want to catalyze ideas about peace and the pathways towards achieving a sustainable peace.
Peace has enormous dividends. What peace can achieve, you can't achieve that through violence. Therefore, as we gather here today to remember and to celebrate this day, we are contributing toward peace.
Peace, peace, peace. Before I came here, someone told me that peace is the #1 word that is most unpopular in my country now. It was very encouraging to hear that right before my trip here. But I thought a lot about it, how to overcome the fact that I cannot even use the word peace. When I use the word peace, it shuts people's ears off. The sacrifice that people make to live in peace, to have a non-violent vision, is a sacrifice. It's a harder battle than the battle of war. The battle of peace is a hard battle.
Peace to me as a person is like an egg. We all know what an egg is, and it's so fragile. It holds a whole life in it. But if you don't nurture it, you don't handle it with care, then it can easily break away. And as you sit here and listen to me today, take it back with you. We all have a responsibility. We can't leave it to the leaders. We can't leave it to the elders. As women, as youth, we all have a voice. Thank you so much.
Peace is just not possible without the respect due to all people. The concern for the dignity of all people should therefore be at the core of peace building and govern all our actions. It must be guided by the heart as much as by the brain.
But if we stop thinking about us versus them, if we stop priming people by saying defendant, plaintiff, if we think differently about rapporteurs or UN panels of inquiry, fact-finding missions, as trying to find who is responsible and who is blamed, which creates out-of-group structures and behavior, we might get to a more optimal use of the cognitive parts of our brain. And if we look at that, we have to start looking at every single conflict and every process for conflict from a social perspective, an emotional perspective, and a cognitive perspective. And mediation is one of the ways that allows that to happen.
I'm playing for all the policymakers across my region to create this sense of collaboration, to break the walls so people can meet each other, to break down the segregation policies that we have so people can integrate. Because only that we can learn from each other, we can leverage our creative geniuses, our collaboration. When we are collaborating, 1 + 1 becomes 3. And so we need this type of policies to generate a better future for us.
Peace to me is more than the absence and reduction of violence of all kinds. It is the creative and non-violent transformation of conflict. Peace to me is waking up in the morning and going to school, not fearing for my life. Peace to me is the fact that I can make friends with whom I choose, regardless of their religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender. Peace to me is the access to healthcare that keeps me healthy and prolongs my life expectancy. Peace to me is going home knowing that I have a safe place to stay.
J'ai fait un rêve merveilleux. Aux 4 coins de notre planète, il n'y avait que paix et amour. Des Européens, Asiatiques, Africains, des Juifs, chrétiens et musulmans vivaient en paix avec eux-mêmes et en paix avec les autres. Il n'y avait ni guerre ni conflit. Les ethnies, les peuples s'imaginaient un avenir commun et étaient prêts à présent à laisser leurs différends de côté pour avancer main dans la main.
For all of these reasons, in my view, and despite the risks, we need to invest much more in a strengthened, professional, active, international mediation and conflict resolution system, both public and private, deployed from the earliest possible stages of all conflicts. We just can't afford to wait the 20+ years which it has taken to resolve most of Africa's recent wars, for example. Good mediators are needed early and usually are needed to stay engaged even after the fighting has stopped. The absence of war is not the end of mediation.
When I was a first aider, I took the training to do the CPR, and we learned 3 words. It's check, listen, and feel. And in my work as a facilitator of dialogue, I use the same concept, but is to convene, to listen, and to forward. Because I think the role of facilitator is to convene and let the local parties themselves run the process. So that's the principle that I applied in most of these places.
Peace starts in the mind. War starts in the mind. Conflict is mindset. It's about difference. It's about difference that's perceived in some emotional way. It can be as a loss, can be with fear, can be about survival, about identity. But the battle for peace has to start in the mind.
Hey, woohoo! Hey!